back in Cleveland where the temperature is 35 degrees and a little light snow falling. All of great interest to our intrepid sideliner, Jamie Erdahl. Jamie.
Greg, thanks. You and Trent already mentioned it. Our insider on CBSSports.com, Jason LaConfora, reporting that the Cleveland Browns could release Mike Pettine of his head coaching duties as soon as later today. Now, I was able to catch up with Browns owner Jimmy Haslam before this game. He did not offer up much comment beyond "we're all set here." Now, they will try to play upset, though, to their AFC North opponent in the Pittsburgh Steelers. We were unable to meet with Ben Roethlisberger last night due to illness. However, head coach Mike Tomlin said that he is all set for the start today as the Steelers try to will themselves into the postseason. Greg?
All right, Jamie, thank you. The Cleveland Browns won the toss, and they have deferred, which means number 7, Ben Roethlisberger, will get his hands on the football first, and we're underway here in Cleveland. Marcus Wheaton from the 1-yard line. Across the 20 and to about the 22-yard line, and that'll bring the offense on with number 7, Ben Roethlisberger. Pretty good season under his belt, but a subpar outing in a devastating loss at Baltimore a week ago. 215 yards passing and 2 interceptions in a game that meant everything to them. You wonder, Trent, how they could underperform the way they did.
You know, it was just very uncharacteristic. Ben Roethlisberger was off on a few throws during the day. Yes, he had a couple that were juggled near the sideline, but just the performance he's put together. He missed some games early in the season because of injury, but the yards he's been throwing for per game. Baltimore had a pretty good game plan for him a week ago, but Cleveland is dealing with a lot of injuries in the secondary.
From the 22-yard line, Roethlisberger will throw on first down, sideline pass, and that is complete to Darius Hayward-Bay. Out of bounds at about the 30-yard line. Let's see if he got 2 feet down.
Secures the catch one and drags that second one. Good technique over on the sideline by Hayward-Bay. Getting that back foot, just dragging the toe.
Pickup of 8 makes it 2nd and 2. The quick pass on that is overthrown, intended for Antonio Brown. It'll be 3rd and 2. The veteran on the offensive line for Pittsburgh is left guard Ramon Foster in his 7th season out of Tennessee. And since running back Le'Veon Bell went down for the year, veteran DeAngelo Williams has supplied the ground game, 101 yards shy of 1,000 for the season.
Well, this is a problem area for the Steelers a week ago, is staying on the field and converting 3rd downs. Saw the ball go through the hands of Antonio Brown on 2nd down, so putting him in this situation.
DeAngelo Williams alongside Roethlisberger in the backfield. Roethlisberger will throw for it to this side of the field, complete to Antonio Brown and out of bounds at about the 33-yard line. That'll be enough for a first down. The Browns on defense. In the middle of the front three is a rookie, 1st-round draft pick Danny Shelton, number 71. Speaking of rookies, 2nd-round pick Nate Orchard from Utah has come on strong, 3 sacks and an interception. And a secondary that will be well tested today has safety Tashawn Gibson shifting to cornerback to replace Ingrid Tremont Williams. Gordon Poyer moving up to the safety position as well. On first down, DeAngelo Williams' first carry of the day is from maybe a yard or so to the 34-yard line.
Want to be interesting moving forward. If the Browns decide to commit that many guys down into the box, it's going to be hard to run the football. I know the Steelers want to have some balance with their offense, but when you put that extra guy in there, this could be a game where Ben puts the ball past quite a few pass attempts if they're going to stack the line.
2nd and 9. Roethlisberger getting rid of it. That's Antonio Brown. Brown dodging a couple of tacklers across the 45. Loose ball picked up by the Browns. Out of bounds at the 40-yard line. That's Craig Robertson.
I know the Steelers are saying he may be down, but it looked like that ball was out first.
Ruling on the field is a fumble recovered by Cleveland.
I think the fans just saw it on the scoreboard here and agreed with the call.
Well, Dansby coming from behind. Looks like that ball's moving before Antonio Brown's left knee hits the ground. The initial chop, it's starting to come out. That's going to be close to see when the contact of that left knee. It looks like it's coming out.
Our referee today is Pete
We will
Morelli.
review the
Turnovers are reviewed automatically. We'll take a break, find out what's what. Well, welcome back. Either the review was a really quick one. Everybody's in agreement, but the Browns start off Austin Davis at quarterback and the quick pass to Travis Benjamin out of bounds on the far side of the field.
Let's take a look at the fumble by Antonio Brown. You see Dansby with the hit. The ball is coming out before either knee hits the ground, so good call by the officials. Good call by the officials in live action, and good call by the officials not to spend a long time reviewing it.
Long time. Instantaneous. 2nd and 5. Isaiah Crowell, not much there, just as he ducks inside the 35 to the 34-yard line. And there is Cleveland's number 7 for the day. Injuries at the quarterback position have passed the starting job from Josh McCown to Johnny Manziel to Austin Davis, playing in his 3rd game, making his 2nd start, Trent.
Well, and the majority of the starts you see at the bottom there were for the Rams a year ago, but as you said, this is the 2nd start for the Browns. Started against the Bengals a few weeks back. Looking to get the big win against the Steelers, knock them out of the playoffs.
3rd and 5. Davis with time over the middle and almost intercepted inside the 20-yard line. Mike Mitchell had it and lost it.
Well, and that's one that Mitchell's going to feel sick about. Davis trying to get it to Barnidge on the crossing route. Gary Barnidge, the tight end, trying to work across the middle. Just sails it too high and too far out in front. Mitchell appears to have his eyes on Barnidge and not the football as it squarely hits him in the chest.
Wow. They're going for it on 4th down, 4th and 5. From the 34-yard line. Davis throwing, and that is complete to the 30-yard line.
He's going to end up short, Greg.
And that's Gary Barnidge, but you're right, Trent. It looks like he's about maybe half a yard short of a 1st down.
Browns trying to catch the Steelers with a quick snap on 4th down. Going empty backfield. Steelers made the adjustment. They blitzed. Linebackers inside both.
And officially now, Pete Morelli says the ball goes over on downs. So Cleveland will take over at their own 30-yard line. Gary Barnidge needed about another half yard. Didn't get it. Okay, a reminder, never miss a moment of football action with the CBS Sports app. Every play, score, game, and highlight right as they happen. Download the CBS Sports app now at cbssports.com/mobile. These Pittsburgh Steelers needing a win here and a loss by the New York Jets at Buffalo. That game is scoreless with under 12 minutes to play in the 1st period in Buffalo. So here are the Steelers from their own 30-yard line. And we get penalty markers flying, and it'll be a false start against the Steelers.
false start. Number 72 offense. 5-yard penalty remains. 1st down.
Penalty is on the center, Cody Wallace.
Well,
that backs the Steelers up 5.
Sorry about that, Greg. And this is not the start they wanted. That's 4 plays now they've had of offense. They had a drop pass, they've had a fumble, and they've had a procedure for moving. So 3 of the first 4 plays, they're not dialed in right now, and they've got to get this turned around quickly.
Jamie Erdahl telling us from the sideline that Antonio Brown has had his wrist taped on the sideline. And across the 25 to the 26-yard line. This is the sideline activity with Antonio Brown having his left wrist looked at. Antonio Brown, just another outstanding season. 2nd and 13. Roethlisberger looks left, throws left, that's complete, and across the 40, first down, and much more is Antonio Brown. Out of bounds across midfield at the Cleveland 47. Pushed out by Jordan Poyer.
Antonio Brown is matched up on Pierre Desir. Desir with a huge cushion, allowing that hits route to turn into a big game. Browns are depleted. Both starting corners are out of the game, and Desir having to step up into the starting lineup. That's a tough matchup.
As quick as Antonio Brown is, that's kind of a pick your poison situation.
Exactly, yeah. You don't want to give him that kind of cushion. He's too quick. It almost becomes a punt return situation. You give him that much space.
Roethlisberger to throw again. Little pop over the middle. DeAngelo Williams out of the backfield into the 40-yard line. Pickup of 7 will make it 2nd and 3. One of the things Mike Tomlin told us was they left themselves second and long yardage far too much a week ago in Baltimore.
Well, and that's what he directly tied to why they weren't effective on 3rd down, was because of their ineffectiveness on 2nd and long.
That pass over the middle and just inside the 35 is Brown once again. Retape wrist or no, number 84 is a busy man so far.
Well, and you wonder if the reason he went down on that, realizing he had the first down, and maybe that wrist is bothering more than he's letting on. Instead of taking the extra contact, go ahead and go on down and move the chain.
4 catches, 49 yards already for Antonio Brown. And the Steelers now from the Cleveland 34. Quick pass, far side. This is Martavis Bryant. Let's go down to Jamie.
Greg, Antonio Brown busy already. We talked to Dante Whitner yesterday. He knew it would be a challenging matchup with him. They actually work out together in the off season. He said the reason why Antonio Brown is so good is he outcompetes everyone, not just the entire game, every single play. He has a motor like he's never seen before.
And he wasn't real thrilled when he was telling us about that either. 2nd and 10. And on the slant, got his man, Antonio Brown, tripped up just inside the 10-yard line. It'll be 1st and goal at the 9.
They're trying to show that they're going to isolate him one-on-one on Desir, but instead they peel off Poyer. Poyer is up at the line of scrimmage like he's going to blitz off the edge. He runs underneath to do a trail technique, but because his back is to Roethlisberger, he can't see what happens when Antonio Brown takes that angle. And so just an incredible throw by Roethlisberger, and the timing they needed to make that completion.
26-yard pickup, 1st and goal from the 9. Pulls it down, throws over the middle, and DeAngelo Williams takes it to about the 2. This drive began when the Browns turned it over on downs.
Offside, number 96, defense, penalty is declined. 2nd down.
Xavier Cooper, the rookie out of Washington State, guilty of that penalty, which was declined at 2nd and goal.
Well, a week ago, DeAngelo Williams had the 2 rushing touchdowns against the Baltimore Ravens, and the Steelers were shut out of passing touchdowns, so look for DeAngelo Williams too.
Play fake. Roethlisberger pulled it down, now throws, and it is caught in the end zone by Heath Miller. Looked like Ben Roethlisberger changed his mind a couple of times before he finally found number 83 in the end zone.
Well, and that's great protection by the offensive line. They give the hard play fake to DeAngelo Williams, get the coverage to jump. Heath Miller working the back line against Desir. I think Desir thought he was going to have the interception the way he reached in there, and Miller just out-muscled him for the ball on the back line.
Heath Miller's second touchdown catch of the season and the 45th of his great career.
Had a chance to talk to him before the game, and he was saying just he realizes how lucky he is to play his entire career with a quarterback like Ben Roethlisberger. He doesn't take that for granted.
Roethlisberger 7 out of 7 throwing the ball on the drive. The extra point from Chris Boswell is good. And the Steelers draw first blood here in Cleveland, 7-0.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Southwest. Transparency, low fares, nothing to hide. Ram Trucks, guts, glory, Ram. And by New York Life, here to help you keep good going.
Hey, have a look at 2 of the 32 Walter Payton NFL Man of the Year nominees. Steelers defensive end Cameron Hayward's been active in supporting cancer awareness in honor of his dad, former NFL running back Craig Ironhead Hayward, while the Browns tight end Gary Barnidge co-founded a nonprofit that aims to develop American football in underprivileged countries around the world. You can see who will win that award at the NFL Honors from San Francisco here on CBS on February the 6th. 7:06 to play in the first quarter, and Pittsburgh on the board with a 7-0 lead, capping an 8-play, 70-yard drive. And Heath Miller on the receiving end.
On Roethlisberger on the day, 10 of 11, 98 yards in that one touchdown. We just saw to Miller putting together a tremendous day, even with these conditions. A little cold, a little windy, spitting some snow. Not exactly ideal for you, Greg.
It's not music to Jamie Erdahl's ears either. Although she hails from Minnesota. You know what they call this up there? Just another day. From the 2-yard line, 41, Raheem Mostert. And Mostert, running room, 40. And out of bounds, just short of midfield. Terrific return. Shamarko Thomas bumped him out of bounds, and we have a penalty marker back at around the 27-yard line.
During a return, illegal block in the back, number 51, the receiving team. 10-yard penalty, first down. Timeout.
Seems like it never fails, Trent, or maybe it's one of the reasons why there was such a great return. 7-0 Steelers.
Here's the block in the back by Barkevious Mingo. And that's why this ball, instead of being at midfield, is all the way back on the 21-yard line. The block in the back helps setting up that big return.
Pretty expensive penalty, but it may not have happened without the block in the back, too.
Exactly.
Austin Davis on first down, throws it out here to the near side, and that's complete across the 25 to the 27-yard line to the tight end, Gary Barnidge. Cleveland's line up front at left tackle, the great Joe Thomas. 9 years, 9 Pro Bowls. Hasn't missed a snap since he was drafted in the first round of 2007. And Cleveland's Mr. Reliable and Mr. Dependable, you just saw Gary Barnidge. Started the day, 71 catches, 977 yards, 9 touchdowns, all team-leading numbers. On the quick slant, the grab by Travis Benjamin and hit almost immediately by Antoine Blake. For the Steelers on defense, Cameron Hayward has been huge on a defense that has allowed just 6 rushing touchdowns on the season. We told you he's the Steelers nominee for the Walter Payton Man of the Year award. 9-year veteran Lawrence Timmons stands out in an otherwise youthful core of linebackers. And hard-hitting safety Mike Mitchell, an Ohio University product. The Steelers interception leader with 3, and he'll be the first to tell you should have 4.
Yes, he should.
Davis with time. Down the field for Benjamin. Incomplete, penalty marker flies. Benjamin covered by Antoine Blake. Mike Tomlin is apoplectic.
Illegal contact. Number 41 defense. 5-yard penalty automatic. First down.
Well, it's not a pass interference call. It's illegal contact. So you got to look. There's a little stutter move at the top here by Benjamin. You see the arm come out and hit him. The ball is not in the air, so that is not pass interference. That is that illegal contact rule. It's an automatic first down, but only a 5-yard penalty as opposed to the spot foul.
So they move it to the 38-yard line where it's a first down for the Cleveland Browns. Pretty good pass protection for Austin Davis. Trying to escape trouble. On the move and gets hit hard back at the 32-yard line. Ryan Shazier and Lawrence Timmons combining.
He has to realize once he's outside the pocket, he can throw that ball away without the intentional grounding. Some of that's just experience. He gets outside. He doesn't really have anybody to this side of the field. The Browns were flooding the far side of the field. It's only one receiver there. But understanding, just flip that ball out of bounds past the sticks and have it 2nd and 10 as opposed to 2nd and 16.
Cleveland just 15 yards of total offense so far. The give is to Duke Johnson, and Johnson is going to be wrapped up back to the 32-yard line by Arthur Moats. Austin Davis at the controls because Johnny Manziel got beaten up big time last week in the loss at Kansas City. Ran for a ton of yardage, but also took his fair share of hits, and on Wednesday was put into the concussion protocol.
There's McCown, started off the season as the starting quarterback here.
Third and long yardage, and he is run over back at the 22-yard line by Will Allen. The 12-year safety out of Ohio State.
You see the pressure right here. Steelers coming into this game were 4th in the NFL in sacks, but only 3 in the last 2 games already today. Getting after the quarterback, 2 sacks just on this drive.
Antonio Brown back at his own 30-yard line. He has 4 career punt returns for touchdowns. This one will carry him back to the 24, to the sideline and out of bounds at about the 30. Don Jones runs him out of bounds there. Meanwhile, Will Allen, author of the latest sack on Austin Davis.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Papa John's, official pizza sponsor of the NFL, and by Bud Light, the official beer sponsor of the NFL.
Back here in Cleveland, music to the ears of Pittsburgh Steelers fans. The Buffalo Bills have grabbed a 7-0 lead on the Jets. A Bills win and a Steelers win puts the Steelers into the postseason. Roethlisberger throws over the middle, intercepted, picked off by Cleveland's Jordan Poyer. Boy, it felt like Poyer just came out of nowhere to pick that off.
Poyer read that all the way. They're just in quarters coverage. And he reads the route. He watches Roethlisberger's eyes. Here he is. He reads the eyes and comes flying up, able to get the interception. For a defense that a year ago was 2nd in the National Football League with 21 interceptions so far this year, that's just their 10th interception on the season. So very timely for the Browns, setting up key field position for Austin Davis and the Browns offense.
How about Ben Roethlisberger? His last 5 games on the road, just 1 touchdown pass and 7 picks. That's his 15th on the season. Sets the Browns up at the Pittsburgh 24. Pass to the near side, complete to Darius Jennings. And let's get an NFL Today report from New York, the first of what I'm sure will be many today. JB and Boomer.
Visual embellishment of your scenario, Greg.
How about Ryan Quigley, a poor punt of 21 yards. Bill took possession at the Jet 25-yard line. This leads to a Tyrod Taylor 18-yard run. 7-0 Bills. That's only the third rushing touchdown this year that the Jets defense has given up, JB.
Greg Gumbel.
All right, guys, thank you. About 5.5 to play in the first quarter in Buffalo. This is Isaiah Crowell turning the corner inside the 15, inside the 10-yard line. They're going to mark him out at exactly the 10-yard line.
Schwartz, Irving, and Barnage to the right side of the line, getting man-to-man contact all the way across there, not allowing the blockers to get off.
Mike Pettin told us yesterday, we got to run the football. It's that simple. First and goal.
Well, if you get a hat on a hat like that, great range.
Crowell, nowhere to go there. Nothing but Steelers on that side of the field. He'll lose a couple.
That would be a hat on no one. there were 4 guys running free on that one. So
second and goal as we have a minute 45 to play in a very quick first quarter here in Cleveland. Goal to go, touchdown efficiency. Cleveland, dead last in the NFL. Davis on the move, throws inside the 10, in and out of the hands of his intended receiver, Travis Benjamin. Antoine Blake covering, it'll be third and goal.
Well, and Bud Dupree was putting pressure on Austin Davis, causing him to flush out of the pocket. You'll see Dupree coming off the edge here against Schwartz.
That's a catchable pass.
It is, but it's still, I mean, you're still going to be, it's only would have been a 3-yard gain. So now you've got to push the ball into the end zone. This is where it gets tricky. From a defensive standpoint, do you put pressure on and go man-to-man, or do you try and get pressure with 3 or 4? Looks like they're bringing the secondary pressure.
Rolling, throwing, and threw it away. Will Allen once again applying pressure on the quarterback.
So you try and cause some confusion with all the bodies close, but what you're really doing is you're trying to disguise it because you want to bring Will Allen off the edge. So you have 7 bodies near the line of scrimmage, but only 4 of those rush, and Will Allen comes free because they're not accounting for that. So you're able to get a kind of a zone blitz scheme where you rush a certain number, drop it out underneath, and not allowing the lanes to throw it up the field.
Travis Coons from 29 yards out. And it is good. A minute 11 as Taylor Gabriel leaves the field. We'll check on him. Short drive for Cleveland after the interception. And the Coons 29-yard field goal has Cleveland on the board. Pittsburgh 0-5 this season when they have a negative turnover differential, and they're -2 today.
Yeah, one on the fumble by Antonio Brown after the reception, and then Roethlisberger with the stare down, and Hoyer reading him from the safety position, getting the interception.
Marcus Wheaton will not run this one out of the end zone. And the touchback means that the Steelers will start from their own 20-yard line with a minute 11 to be played. Hey, people affected by severe weather and other disasters need help now. To support those impacted by disasters like the severe weather in Illinois, Missouri, Texas, and countless other crises, text Red Cross to 90999 to give $10 to American Red Cross Disaster Relief. That Jets-Buffalo game is coming up on 2.5 minutes to play in the first quarter. Buffalo still holding on to a 7-0 lead over the Jets. Steelers from their own 20. D'Angelo Williams. And Williams hit at the line of scrimmage forward for about a yard, and we go down to Jamie.
Well, Greg, Trent said he almost looked sick. Taylor Gabriel left the field because he was poked in the eye during that play. He has left for evaluation. His return is questionable for the Browns.
All right, Jamie, thank you. That would make me sick.
Yeah, that definitely would. The Browns, the Steelers are having a hard time getting the run game going. Only 3 carries for 3 yards.
Roethlisberger with lots of time. Still looking and throwing to the sideline, and that is complete to Marcus Wheaton. Out of bounds at the first down marker at the 30-yard line. That looks like a first down, but there's a penalty flag down.
Illegal contact, number 26, defense. Penalty is declined. The result of the play, first down.
The penalty is on second-year cornerback Pierre Desir.
Well, he's had the task most of the day of going against Antonio Brown. With Antonio Brown once again, they're getting the illegal contact up the field.
Trent, a week ago, we saw the exact opposite approach on offense by the Pittsburgh Steelers. They ran early in the game against Baltimore. And today, the running game isn't going, and Roethlisberger has shown a proclivity to throw the ball.
Yeah, Baltimore started that game in a cover 2 deep, the 2 safeties deep, allowing... just had to get a quick update there. Reset the clock to 15 seconds, but it's because of what the defense gave him. Mike Tomlin tried telling us that. He said, listen, Todd Haley's not going to force the situation to run or the pass. We're going to run our offense based on what the defense gives us. So far, that's been putting the ball up in the air because of the number of people that have committed down low.
This is Williams, and Williams is wrapped up at about the 28-yard line, and that will bring us to the end of the first quarter. The Steelers desperately needing a win here today. Lead at 7-3. Back to Cleveland after this. Once again, Happy New Year to all of you from all of us as we start the second quarter here in Cleveland. 7-3 Steelers in the lead, and they are second and 11 at the Pittsburgh 29-yard line. Movement up front.
False start, number 66, offense. 5-yard penalty remains. Second down.
This has got to be a game, Trent, that all the pressure in the world is on the Steelers, and the Cleveland Browns don't have any. But, you know, I don't often agree with that feeling that there are a lot of distractions for a football team, but you wouldn't blame the Cleveland Browns for thinking about a lot more than just this game.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff being reported out there, being circulated from different, whether it be about head coach Pettine, if you talk about Ray Foreman, the GM, Johnny Manziel, there's a lot of stuff
going on
other than just football, which is really what it's supposed to be about. Unfortunately, the Browns are dealing with other things.
Second and 16, Roethlisberger to throw. With time, this side of the field, and wide open was Antonio Brown for a first down, out of bounds at the 44.
Antonio Brown matched up on Deshaun Gibson. Gibson normally a safety playing corner today because 2 starting corners are out of the game, so not necessarily his most comfortable position. Why he's giving such a big cushion when he's in one-on-one against Antonio Brown.
And no matter who's back there, Antonio Brown is a handful.
Yeah, that's a handful for a Pro Bowl corner.
Roethlisberger, all kinds of time throwing, and that is complete inside the 40 of the Cleveland Browns. Do you feel, Trent, a decided effort to get the football to number 84 today?
I think there is. He's been the main target all year. You can tell that by the number of receptions and where he sits in terms of the NFL ranks. But so far today, already 7 catches for 118 yards. He came into today just 20 receptions shy of an NFL record. So there's been he's been targeted quite a few times.
Yeah, he may get it. Martavis Bryant has that one go through his hands. Time to go green, shall we?
Well, we're going to talk about the Steelers and their combination routes, and what that does is it puts the pressure on the defense. So the defense is going to come in, play it too deep. Then it allows Ben Roethlisberger where he wants to go with the football. And really, by having combination routes, you can go wherever the defense allows you to go. In this case, with a cover 2, it leaves the middle of the field open. You do a change release. Antonio Brown works outside, comes back inside, and Roethlisberger hits him for a big game.
Second and 10, DeAngelo Williams up the middle, shakes a couple of tacklers, and takes it to the 31. He's marked down at the 31. Tackle made by John Hughes III. And Williams rolling over and holding his right leg.
Yeah, right at the end of that play, he fell on the back of his legs, and it's either that right ankle or right knee.
There's the contact. We'll check on D'Angelo. As we welcome you back to Cleveland, that is D'Angelo Williams being carted off to the Pittsburgh locker room. He is replaced by number 33, second-year back Fitzgerald Toussaint out of Michigan. Just 6 carries for 18 yards this season. Mike Tomlin made a point of shaking his hand before he took the field. 3rd and 4. Roethlisberger under pressure throws, and that's complete to Brown to the 30-yard line, but that is short of a first down. Let's go back to where D'Angelo Williams suffered the injury.
You see it's John Hughes III that's going to make the tackle, 93, as he comes down right on the back of, a little bit further here, right on the back of D'Angelo Williams' right foot. You're going to see right there, that's a lot of weight and a lot of body coming down. It almost looks very similar. I don't want to speculate. Could be ankle, could be foot. Very similar to what happened to Ben Roethlisberger earlier in the season with his foot injury.
Chris Boswell lining up this field goal from 48 yards out. Kick on its way and no good. Just drifted off to the right. Mike Pettine. Something to smile about in this new year. Boswell's kick on the way. Started out good, ended up wide. Mike Pettine says, still 7-3.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by the Acura Oh What Fun It Is to Drive event. Verizon. Better matters. And by the Home Depot. More saving, more doing.
Welcome back to Cleveland. 12:31 to play here in the first half. The Pittsburgh Steelers having just missed a field goal with a 7-3 lead, and the Browns will take over at their own 38-yard line.
See, this is why you don't look at the stats, Greg. Right now, if you look at the stats, it's 155 yards for the Steelers to 19 yards for the Browns. Yet we've got a 7-3 ball game, and Cleveland's got the ball with an opportunity to go down and make this thing even closer or take the lead.
Coming around from the wide receiver position is Travis Benjamin, but he's run out of bounds on the far side by Will Allen, who feels like he is all over the field in the early part of this game.
Well, and that's to finish that thought, Greg, and that's the reason why coaches, every head coach we talk to, nobody wants to talk about numbers. Oh, you're ranked 3rd in this, 7th in this, 14th in this. It's about, Mike Tomlin tells us all the time, it's about getting the win. I don't care how we get the win. I don't care what the numbers say. I just want one more point at the end of the day.
And, of course, it was easy for him to say that when he's scoring 35 points a game. On 2nd and 10, Davis over the middle and through behind his intended receiver, Darius Jennings.
Got penalty in the backfield.
We have a penalty flag down. Here's Pete Morelli.
Illegal use of hands to the face, number 90, defense. 5-yard penalty, automatic first down.
Steve McClendon guilty of a hand to the face, and that's a break for the Browns. There is Johnny Manziel, not with us, not with the Browns for this game today, out with the concussion, and USA Today reporting that he was dining and otherwise enjoying himself in the Las Vegas casino yesterday.
Well, the Browns told us that he was here at the facility yesterday, but they wouldn't verify or deny the Vegas report.
That pass is complete to Barnidge, and Barnidge getting it out close to midfield. Brought down at about the 48-yard line. Let's get an update from the guys in New York once again to JB and Boomer.
Buffalo trying to play spoiler plus.
Well, I'll tell you what, Rex Ryan would love nothing better than to knock the Jets out of the playoff race, and Buffalo Bills are doing their best right now, 13-0. That's a Carlos Williams 2-yard run on 4th and 1 and a missed extra point by the Buffalo Bills. 13-0 Buffalo over the Jets.
Greg Gumbel.
Rex Ryan would be ecstatic to knock off the Jets. Pulling his way to the 45-yard line.
Well, and back to that Jets game, Boomer had told us on the last break that the Jets had only given up 2 rushing touchdowns the entire season, and that's the Bills' second rushing touchdown of the day.
Once again, a Jets loss and a Steelers win eliminates the Jets from the postseason and puts the Steelers in as a wild card.
Well, that's what Mike Tomlin, that's all he wanted to talk about. He said, I don't want to focus on the what-ifs if we don't make the playoffs. There will be plenty of time to look back on that. I want to focus on winning this game and getting prepared for the playoffs and anticipating making it.
Crowell to the 45, and we go down to Jamie.
Greg, I mentioned earlier Taylor Gabriel was out with a poke of the eye. He is out for the game now with that eye injury. We will not see him again for the Cleveland Browns.
All right, Jamie, thank you. Boy, this not that each team doesn't have its own injury concerns, but this Cleveland team has been hit 35 diagnosed concussions since the 2012 season, and 16 coming into this game today. David on the screen, and trying to break outside is Duke Johnson, and Johnson just inside the 45-yard line. Jamie.
Staying busy, Greg. DeAngelo Williams, we saw him carted off earlier. He could put no weight on that right ankle when he was helped off. The team is now telling me he is questionable to return with a right ankle injury.
All right, thank you, Jamie. DeAngelo Williams, who has had such a superb season, coming on in relief of Le'Veon Bell.
Well, it's really a fresh start for him, too, here in Pittsburgh, getting an opportunity to come up here after being so many years in Carolina. 50-50. Frustrating to see anybody get injured, but DeAngelo was filling in nicely for Le'Veon.
3rd and 9. Let's see what kind of pressure the Steelers come up with. 4-man rush on the slant, off the fingertips of his intended receiver, Darius Jennings. And Will Allen was there on the coverage. And almost a pick.
Austin Davis trying to squeeze it in between 2 defenders. Actually lucky as the ball tips up that it's not intercepted. Will Allen has been all over the field, which you mentioned earlier, Greg.
That's the 2nd time today Austin Davis has been lucky. Mike Mitchell should have had a pick earlier. Antonio Brown back at his 10-yard line for the upcoming punt from Andy Lee. Inside the 10 and rolling to a stop where it's grounded at the 7 by Raheem Mostert. Nice kick by Andy Lee. Ben Roethlisberger operating from his 7 after this. 9:03 to play in the first half. The Pittsburgh Steelers needing a win, needing a Buffalo win against the New York Jets. On 1st down. This is Toussaint. And Toussaint maybe a yard at best. Craig Robertson in the middle of the stop. Thursday on CBS. Start the new year with a big bang. The first new episode of 2016. Thursday at 8/7 Central. Only CBS. Going to give him 2 yards on the play to the 9, and it'll be 2nd and 8. Fitzgerald Toussaint, 5'9", 204 in his 2nd season from the University of Michigan. Toussaint again. Fights his way across the 10 and out to about the 14-yard line. Let's get another update on what's going on. JB and Boomer from New York.
Jets unable to capitalize.
You know, they had 19 yards of total offense up to this point. Here comes Chris Ivory. 58-yard run takes it all the way down to the Buffalo 22. Jets go from 3 plays to an attempted field goal. They missed the attempted field goal. Buffalo still leads 13-0.
Back to Greg Gumbel.
All right, guys, thank you. New York Jets with the postseason in their hands. Down 13 in Buffalo. 3rd and 3. Roethlisberger will throw for it, pulls it down, now throws outside, almost intercepted on the far side by Jordan Poyer.
Even veteran quarterbacks can get the mistake prone of not getting your feet set, trying to get the crossing route to Antonio Brown underneath. Ben doesn't reset his feet. That ball floats out to the sidelines. If you're late and behind to the sidelines, Poyer should have had his 2nd interception of the day. We can get that hand in there to break it up.
Travis Benjamin back for the punt. He will let this bounce, and it takes a Steeler roll, and Benjamin looking for running room. Gets some blocking. 45, and out of bounds at midfield. What a terrific job by Travis Benjamin on the punt return. Great field position for Cleveland when we come back.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Nationwide. Nationwide is on your side. And by Wendy's.
The snow has stopped for the moment as we welcome you back. 7:14 to play here in the first half. Steelers with a 7-3 lead. Week 17 continues later today on CBS and Fox, then tonight with Sunday Night Football on NBC.
Browns have been very conservative in their play calling. The one time they tried going up the field on the double move, they got the penalty in the 1st down. So look for the change of possession here near midfield. This is when you want to try and surprise the defense, especially with the Steelers showing middle of the field closed.
Davis throwing over the middle, and that's complete inside the 45 to the 43-yard line to Gary Barnidge, and Will Allen there for the stop.
Well, that's a nice chunk on 1st down, something that they haven't had in previous series, but I still think they need to take a shot in this area of the field.
DeAngelo Williams trotting back onto the field. Much to the delight of or onto the sideline, much to the delight of the Steelers.
Yeah, did you see Mike Munchak, the offensive line coach? He had the big old smile on his face on him, jogging back out on the field.
Crowell to the 40, enough for a 1st down. That is Martavis Bryant on the sideline. And there's DeAngelo Williams, anxious to get back into the game. Buffalo Bills leading the Jets 13-0, about 11 minutes to play in the 1st half. In Buffalo, this is Crowell. And Crowell dragging Steelers to about the 37. Lawrence Timmons with the stop, and a little bit of chippiness comes in. This is, after all, the AFC North. Gary Barnidge, what a year he has had, and what a bright spot on this Cleveland team.
Well, and you already mentioned the fact that he's the Walter Payton Man of the Year nomination for the Cleveland Browns. So not only doing it in the community, but also producing on the football field as well.
Over 1,000 yards receiving now on the season. 2nd and 6. Davis got his man inside the 30, inside the 25, to about the 22. Darius Jennings, the rookie free agent wide receiver out of Virginia.
This is just your basic curl route, running up, stemming to the outside like you're going to push it up the field, and you just come back. Good protection that time for Davis to step into his throw. He's had a couple that he sailed high today and had a couple he's inaccurate. That time putting it right between the numbers of Jennings.
Davis 9 out of 13 for just 49 yards throwing. New set it down. This is Duke Johnson. To about the 15-yard line. What a story Duke Johnson is. He's #1 all time at the University of Miami in rushing yards, in all-purpose yards, in total kick return yards.
Yeah, he's done a tremendous job. He can catch the ball out of the backfield. You just saw his running ability there, able to get around the edge with the speed, but then the power to push the pile and get the extra yards. Put together a solid rookie season.
third-round pick out of Miami. Doesn't have a rushing touchdown yet, but he's caught 2 touchdown passes. 2nd and 3. Johnson again. And he's brought to a stop at the 15 by James Harrison. There is Cleveland owner Jimmy Haslam. And according to various reports, has some decisions to make. Maybe as early as this evening.
All right, now key third down here for the Steelers, and talking to Keith Butler, defensive coordinator. Here's a look at Ray Farmer, general manager of the Browns. The Steelers talked about mixing things up, not making it very easy for Austin Davis. They'll make it a whole lot harder now with the penalty.
False start, number 81, offense, 5-yard penalty remains. Third
That's Jim
down.
Dre. Let's get another update from the guys in New York. JB, Boomer.
Finally for the Jets.
Little live from the Jets. Here's Ryan Fitzpatrick, his 30th touchdown pass of the season. That breaks a franchise record held by Vinny Testaverde. 17 yards to Brandon Marshall. Extra point is good. 13-7 Buffalo over the Jets.
As Greg says, it's a win or in scenario for New York. Back to Greg Gumbel.
Yeah, it's too bad that Brandon Marshall guy hasn't had a decent year, right? Boy, what an addition he's been. 3rd and 8 now for Austin Davis. Throwing far side of the field, caught, and diving for the first down is Darius Jennings. Let's see where they mark him. Enough for the first down at the 11.
Antoine Blake goes for the interception. He tries to undercut it. Trying to get that 85-yard pick 6, but he misses. Benjamin's able. Boy, as it initially slips through, he gets both feet in and dives for the first down. A little bobble right at the beginning, but able to control it.
On the quick slant, that one is blocked and falls incomplete. It'll be 2nd and 10. On that pass to the sideline, if you're on the Cleveland sideline, you could just hear guys going, "Oh no,
Yes,
oh good."
Yes. That's and a lot of times as a quarterback, you throw it, you're like, uh-oh, and you start drifting that way because you know you're the last man standing between the end zone, and then you just kind of bounce and pump your fists like, yeah, we got this one.
Keith Butler, defensive coordinator, said hi to him last night in the hotel.
He just talks about continually trying to mix it up. You don't want to be predictable on defense. They have some young guys on that side of the ball trying to win the one-on-one matchups, but you can't be predictable. You have to continue to change things up.
Pass to the outside and right off the hands of Duke Johnson. It'll be 3rd and 10.
Well, that's a good place to go with the football. If you're Austin Davis, you have a matchup with a running back that's very good catching the ball out of the backfield against an inside linebacker in Timmons. So good decision on his part, just didn't finish the play.
Cleveland can get a first down without getting a touchdown. It is 3rd and 10 from the 11. Can't get rid of it and goes down back at the 27-yard line, courtesy of Antoine Blake.
Well, this one you've got to put on. This one you've got to put on Austin Davis, hanging on to the ball too long, taking the crucial sack.
2 minutes to play. Austin Davis on the sideline as Travis Coons lines up a 39-yard field goal attempt. Kick on its way and looking good. So at 1:56 to play, the Browns move to within a point at 7-6. Just a reminder, coming up, the Verizon Halftime Report. JB and the guys with all kinds of things to talk about. Scores, highlights, analysis, playoff races, all coming up on the Verizon Halftime Report. 5:18 to play here in the first half in Buffalo. 5.5 minutes to play with the Bills holding a 13-7 lead on the New York Jets. Pittsburgh needing a Buffalo win there and a win over Cleveland here to make the postseason.
Well, and you know Ben Roethlisberger's itching to get back on the field here. He's got all 3 timeouts at his disposal. So with this 2-minute drill, he's going to be able to utilize the entire field.
This one will bounce into the end zone for the touchback. No chance for Marcus Wheaton to run it back. Pittsburgh has had its problems today, Brent.
Well, and it's been lopsided when you look at it from a statistical standpoint, but early in the game, Antonio Brown gets stripped for the fumble. The Browns get good field position, then the dropped interception by Mitchell hits him right in the chest. In turn, Poyer does not drop the interception for the Browns, and then the missed field goal. So we're sitting at a 7-6 game, even though statistically, Greg, you and I have talked about the numbers are very lopsided in the Steelers' favor.
We saw D'Angelo Williams had returned to the sideline, but Fitzgerald Toussaint is back on the field and in the backfield for the Steelers. And as Trent says, all 3 of their timeouts remain. Same for Cleveland. Roethlisberger, incomplete.
That's excellent coverage by the Browns. I was scanning the field, and they had 5 receivers out, and nobody was open. It was all man-to-man coverage. They kept everybody in tight coverage, and as that pocket collapsed around Roethlisberger. So Browns answering with good pressure on first down.
Second and 10. Good time this time. Right down the middle of the field. Caught! Marcus Wheaton. And Pittsburgh uses a timeout to stop the clock with 1:41 to play. Ben Roethlisberger got great protection from his line and produced. Welcome back, Pittsburgh, with a first down now at the Cleveland 40. And 2 timeouts remaining for the Steelers. This pass complete to the 35-yard line to Heath Miller. You probably know a thing or two about having a good tight end to rely on from time to time.
Yeah, it's a nice luxury to have, especially when you have the weapons on the outside like Roethlisberger does. If you're stretching the field with speed on the outside, and then you have a guy like Heath Miller in the middle to work that underneath coverage, whether it be against a safety or linebacker, it's a huge advantage to have.
On 2nd and 5, Roethlisberger throwing, and it is caught by Antonio Brown. Inside the 25-yard line, and a timeout stops the clock with 67 seconds to play.
Brown just working on the outside on a dig route. This zone coverage, he's able to find it. It's incredible that he's able to get up that high and catch it with his fingertips on a cold and windy day.
So the line of scrimmage now the 17th, and a reminder, coming up, the Verizon halftime report. Once again, JB and the guys with scores and highlights from New York and the latest on the playoff races. That's the Verizon halftime report, 1:07 away. Coming up on 2 minutes to play in the first half in Buffalo. The Bills still holding on to a 13-7 lead over the New York Jets. Roethlisberger throwing, corner of the end zone, and overthrown. Marcus Wheaton was the nearest receiver down there.
Well, that's a double move by Wheaton on the outside. He was given the skinny post and was supposed to break it to the corner. He peeled that off and ran a flat. Wanted to work right across the goal line. You see Roethlisberger immediately started yelling and pointing to him to go to the back corner of the end zone, not the front corner of the end zone. And then you saw him walking back to the huddle, and Wheaton gave him that little head nod like, yeah, my bad.
Pittsburgh with 1 timeout remaining, 2nd and 10. Roethlisberger down the middle, touchdown! Antonio Brown!
Double move by Antonio Brown. His 10th catch of the half. Watch as he sets this stem up the field. He gives a nod to the outside, just freezes the corner. Excellent throw by Roethlisberger. Antonio's the only one that can get. Can you believe 10 catches on the half already? 150 yards and his first touchdown.
10th touchdown catch of the season. The extra point by Boswell is good, and with 58 seconds remaining, the Steelers stretched their lead to 14-6.
And you say, why is the safety leaving the middle of the field? Because right here you're going to have a trail coverage with outside leverage. But what Antonio Brown's able to do is he comes up the field, gives that double nod, and is able to get the skinny post. So they vacate the safety because they have double coverage. They have a bracket coverage, but that ball is placed beautifully between that. Antonio Brown comes up with the touchdown.
Let me ask you, Trent, how does trail coverage help for a guy who's so quick like Antonio Brown?
Well, you're hoping he could get his head turned around and try and get a hand on it. You see Antonio Brown with his 10 catches in the first half now puts him 10 away from Marvin Harrison's NFL single-season record.
You see the snow blowing on the sideline. 58 seconds to play. This is more like AFC North Division football.
Yeah, it's been a very uncommon winter, I think, everywhere across the country. Been very warm. We have not seen weather like this. So
it's like playing football in the Caribbean. Raheem Mostert deep. And he will not run this one out of the end zone. It'll go as a touchback, and the Browns will start from their own 20-yard line. Saturday, freshman phenom Ben Simmons leads LSU into Gainesville to take on the defensive-minded Florida Gators. And then on Sunday, the red-hot Ohio State squad gets a big test against Yogi Ferrell and the Indiana Hoosiers. It all begins on Saturday with Inside College Basketball right here on the road to the Final Four, CBS Sports.
Kind of been coming and going today, but right now it's
coming.
It's definitely coming down. This is how a Browns-Steelers game is supposed to be played, though, right?
Kind of look around for Jim Brown and John Henry Johnson. Davis with time over the middle, and that is complete. This is Benjamin, and Benjamin across the 30 to about the 32-yard line. Ryan Shazier tracking him down. And Cleveland uses a timeout to stop the clock with 48 seconds to play. They have 2 remaining.
Nice job by Benjamin working across the field. Davis hits him in stride, and he's able to use that speed to get the first down with 3 timeouts to go. It's not crucial for you to get out of bounds at that point in time. Just get the yardage.
We should send out an alert that if there is a small pile of snow moving around down there, it's probably Jamie Erdahl. 48 seconds on the clock.
I got to think you have a hard time as a weather forecaster here on the lake. There's just supposed to be a little bit of snow. Now all of a sudden it's blowing sideways.
David over the middle with Duke Johnson out of the backfield, shaking tacklers on the move across midfield and out of bounds.
Give that all to Duke. That's unbelievable. Just a little check down trying to pick up 5-6 yards, and he's able to give a couple stiff arms, work over to the sideline and get out of bounds. Davis working through his progressions. Not the best throw on the back shoulder, but
nice grab.
Johnson able to give a couple stiff arms and save those timeouts.
Cleveland now at the Pittsburgh 48. Davis reverses field, gets a block, got rid of it, incomplete.
I talked about the Steelers trying to mix things up, not be predictable on defense, that time bringing the pressure, overloading and not allowing the Browns to pick it up. And Davis lucky to get out of there and able to get rid of the ball.
We've seen the pressure coming from a bunch of different guys on that Steeler defense so far today.
Well, that's what they like to do. They like to mix it up with their corners and safeties. Linebackers bring different combinations, so as an offensive unit, you have a hard time figuring out which man you're trying to take. It's better to just zone it off and take whoever it is that comes into your zone.
2nd and 10. Here they come again. Davis down at the 43-yard line, and that was Arthur Moats.
Well, Moats just comes off the edge here, and nobody even blocks him. Schwartz steps to the outside to pick up the secondary pressure, but the guard doesn't bounce out. There's no running back in the backfield to slide over and get it, so clearly a miscommunication on the Browns' part.
Meanwhile, in Buffalo, Dan Carpenter has kicked the field goal for the Bills, and they stretch their lead over the New York Jets to 16-7 with under a half minute to play. Once again, the Jets lose there, the Steelers win here. Jets are out of the playoffs, and the Steelers are in.
One of you noticed, Greg, how the stadium is not updating that score. They don't want to give the Steelers any more incentive, so they're not. It's hard to find that updated score. Now I'm sure everybody has their phones and they're getting updates as they want, but they don't want that sideline to know.
3rd and 19. Going deep down the far sideline, going for the football and grabbing it. The catch is made by Terrell Pryor.
And they use the timeout. Terrell Pryor making the transition from quarterback to receiver against Antoine Blake. The size difference, but the body control that he shows to undercut Blake and go back and get the football.
Terrell Pryor at 6'4", Antoine Blake at 5'9". 17 seconds on the clock. That was a 42-yard pickup.
Cleveland has no timeouts left, and so with 17 seconds, yes, you can work the middle of the field, but you're not going to leave yourself any time other than to spike it and take one more play. So you want to get out of bounds or take some throws into the end zone.
First red zone trip of the day for the Browns. Davis on the slant, incomplete inside the 5-yard line. Pryor, the intended receiver, and that time Blake knocked it down.
Good timing on Blake's part, getting there right as the ball was reaching Pryor. James Harrison with the underneath coverage.
Terrell Pryor converted to the wide receiver position after the 2014 season. Needless to say, he is Cleveland's emergency quarterback today. 2nd and 10.
Well, and with no timeouts, you either have to get out of bounds or get it into the end zone. You can't afford to be in the field of play.
Davis, time, throwing, incomplete. Travis Benjamin, 9 seconds.
You got time for one more shot to the end zone. Once again, you can't do anything short of the goal line. It'll end up like the game last week ended in Kansas City, where they weren't able to get out of bounds and ended up losing that football game before having a shot at the end zone because of the lack of timeout. So you have to be smart here with the ball.
Remember a frustrated Johnny Manziel bouncing his helmet off the turf, running out of time. 3rd and 10. Davis. Now throwing. End zone. Incomplete. Intended for Jennings.
Well, and that's a tough catch, but that's one Jennings has to make. I was getting a little nervous here for Davis. I was like, you can't hang on to the ball. You're going to take a sack, and the clock's going to run out, but he buys some time. Benjamin comes back for it, goes right through his hands. See the reaction of Davis.
That close. So here is Travis Coons lining up for what would be his 3rd field goal of the day. This one from 33 yards. On its way and good. And that's how we close out the first half. A game the Pittsburgh Steelers absolutely need to have any hope for a postseason berth. At halftime, it's a 14-9 lead for the Pittsburgh Steelers. who are doing their best not to scoreboard watch. They have their hands full with the Cleveland Browns. 2 Cleveland touchdowns, or 2 Pittsburgh touchdowns, 3 field goals for the Browns, and we go down to Jamie.
Coach, you asked today for a balanced ground and passing attack. Has that led to success on the scoreboard?
You know the answer to that. We don't have the type of balance we desire, but we're just here to win, man. We don't care about style points. We'll let you guys talk about that.
You wanted to affect the passer more than you did last week. Have you gotten after Austin Davis enough?
So far, so good. You know, we got to do a better job of containing him so we can see the fruit of that labor. He's gotten out a little bit because of lack of contain, but I like the pressure we're applying.
All right, Coach, thanks.
All right, Jamie, and thank you, Mike Tomlin. And we come to the end of the first half with the score. Pittsburgh 14 and Cleveland 9. Back with the Verizon halftime report after this message and a word from your local station. You're watching the NFL on CBS, the home of Super Bowl 50. Back in Cleveland, the Pittsburgh Steelers looking for the postseason. They've gotten some good connections from Ben Roethlisberger to Antonio Brown. However, the turnovers have cost the Steelers a fumble, a missed opportunity on an interception, and they lost running back DeAngelo Williams in the first half to a leg injury. He has yet to return from that at halftime. The Steelers leading the Cleveland Browns by a score of 14-9. Greg Gumbel along with Trent Green back upstairs. That first half was, you look at the numbers and you wonder how the Cleveland Browns are even in this football game, but they are.
It has been very lopsided when you look at the numbers and you look at how the Steelers were able to produce and push the ball up the field, but they had the turnovers, had the interceptions, had the fumble, had the missed field goal. So they're doing all the things to keep Cleveland in the ball game. But looking ahead, just exactly what the Steelers stop the miscues, because this game should be much more lopsided than it is. But you got to give the Browns a nod of the hat, because the fact they've been able to produce and get points, they just need to be more productive in the red zone and convert touchdowns instead of settling for those 3 field goals.
They have hung around, and they get their hands on the football first here in the second half. Raheem Mostert is deep for the kick. Mostert will take this one at the goal line. Across the 15 and out to about the 19-yard line, and we go down to Jamie.
Greg, a key for the Cleveland Browns in the second half, keeping Austin Davis upright. Mike Pettin just told me he made some adjustments in pass protection, but a lot of it has to do with Davis getting rid of the ball faster. Now, a note from the Pittsburgh Steelers sideline, DeAngelo Williams out for the rest of the game with that right ankle injury. Okay,
thank you, Jamie. There was a penalty flag thrown on the return, and it's going to back the Browns up, an illegal block in the back. And there is Mike Pettin. What does his future hold? All of the reports, not just today, but for weeks, what kind of future he has, if any, here in Cleveland.
Well, it's about producing. It's about winning football games, and Mike Pettin was very clear on that. He said, listen, things started off well here in Cleveland, but the last 20 games has only been 3 wins, so you can understand if the decision goes the other way, but I know he'd like to be here and would like to be the head coach.
Davis throwing, incomplete. Travis Benjamin, the intended receiver. You know, when Mike Pettin sat down with us yesterday morning, said, you know, how are you holding up? And he says, well, you know, this can't be unexpected when you win only 3 of your last 20 games.
When you can look at the numbers there, the last time they had a winning head coach was Marty Schottenheimer in the mid-'80s, so it's been quite some time for the Cleveland Browns.
2nd and 10. We'll give it to Crowell, and Crowell will pull his way out to about the 9-yard line. And by the way, it's never a good thing, apparently, for a Cleveland coach to finish up against the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah, that's not a good sign, especially recently. If you look at that 08, 10, 12, and 13. So, and this is a very proud franchise with a long history. So, it's the fans support it. They like their football, love their football in Cleveland.
On 3rd and 8, on the blitz, stepping up, the pass is incomplete off the hands of Darius Jennings. And Cleveland will have to kick it away.
Well, and that's the last 2 pass attempts towards Jennings. Right at the end of the first half, he had one go through his hands in the end zone. that could have been a touchdown, and this time trying to catch it more with his body going through his hands and going off the shoulder pad.
And Antonio Brown back at his own 45-yard line. And unless something very strange happens here, Pittsburgh is going to come out of this with pretty decent field position. It away at the goal line. And fair catch called for and made by Brown. All in all, not a bad result for the Cleveland Browns. 14 minutes to play. In the third quarter, Antonio Brown having himself a good day for the Pittsburgh Steelers, who lead it 14-9.
Telecast is copyrighted by the NFL for the private use of our audience. Any other use of this telecast or of any pictures, descriptions, or accounts of the game without the NFL's consent is prohibited.
Steelers with the ball at their own 38-yard line. And Toussaint filling in for injured D'Angelo Williams gets a couple to the 40. Let's check in for the first time in the second half with JB and Boomer in New York, guys.
All right, Greg, Jets inching back.
Well, Mike Gillislee, the rookie running back for the Buffalo Bills, fumbles on the Bills' 23-yard line. This leads to a Randy Bullock 39-yard field goal. Buffalo leads 16-10.
All right, back to Greg Gumbel.
All right, guys. Jets needing a win. Pittsburgh needing a Jets loss and a win here today. On 2nd and 8, Roethlisberger with protection, intercepted over the middle, picked off by the Browns. Craig Robertson. Robertson going the other way, gets a block inside the 20, still on his feet, inside the 15, inside the 10. Craig Robertson, a linebacker by trade, looking every bit like a running back.
And Robertson is just reading the eyes of Ben Roethlisberger. Roethlisberger is looking for Antonio. Here's Robertson here. Antonio Brown's going to be coming to the middle of the field from Roethlisberger's left. Just reading his eyes. Robertson just flows. He drops back to his left, but then reads where Roethlisberger's reading, just floats right over, and that ball is low enough. And then he turns into a little bit of a running back here on the return.
Meanwhile, Roethlisberger getting into it back at the goal line.
That's just a quarterback with frustration right there. Believe me, I've been there. It's you know, you try and get to a little block, you're trying to get blocked, and then all of a sudden, next thing you know, you're trying to rip the guy's helmet off. So
Isaiah Crowell, right side. Grabbed and goes down at about the 5-yard line by Arthur Moat. You know, I'm kicking myself because I wanted to ask you earlier. Obviously, we see Ben Roethlisberger looking for Antonio Brown more than usual, and I wondered if that was going to raise its ugly head and bite him.
Well, that time it did, because he came out of it and he started off looking to his right to confirm what coverage was, and then when he came back to his left, he just got locked into it, and I think he was just a little bit late with it. If he had gotten to that quicker, there was more of a crease for it, but Robertson just did a great job reading his eyes.
2nd and goal from the 5. David throwing, end zone, overthrew his tight end, Gary Barnett, who was double covered. It'll be 3rd and goal.
One more time, look at Ben Roethlisberger's eyes. He starts off looking to the right to confirm coverage, but here he's staring down to his left. And so Robertson's able to drift over, follow those eyes, and with the low trajectory of that throw, make the interception.
A 32-yard return, and what a return that was for Craig Robertson.
Well, now the Browns are faced with a tough 3rd down, 3rd and goal from the 5-yard line. They spread everyone out. Looks like the Steelers are going to bring some pressure inside.
On 3rd and goal, Davis throwing and intercepted at the goal line. Picked off by James Harrison. The Browns with a scoring opportunity, and they give it right back. James Harrison, his first interception of the season.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Southwest. Transparency. Low fares, nothing to hide. Snickers. Snickers satisfies. And by Mercedes-Benz. Experience truly great engineering today at your authorized dealer.
Back in Cleveland, a Browns threat goes by the boards. 7 red zone takeaways.
Here's James Harrison. He's going to be the one that undercuts and gets the interception. Will Allen is going to be blitzing to the inside. Watch how Harrison drops underneath Barnage and is able to get this interception. Austin Davis either doesn't see him or just has a poor throw on the back hip of Barnage, giving the ball back to the Steelers.
So the Steelers survive the threat. Start from their own 5-yard line. Toussaint for about 3 out to the 8. About 10 minutes to play in the third quarter in Buffalo. The Bills holding on to a 16-10 lead over the New York Jets. The Jets win, they're in. The Jets lose, it opens the door for the Pittsburgh Steelers if they can walk out of Cleveland with a win. Second and 7. Roethlisberger going deep down the sideline. Incomplete. Darius Hayward-Bay shadowed all the way down the field. Meanwhile, that playoff picture. New England, Denver, Cincinnati, Houston. Division leaders right now. Kansas City and the Jets fighting for the wild card along with Pittsburgh and Indianapolis a long shot. Meanwhile, New England playing at Miami, and they are tied at 10 in the third quarter. And New England still looking for that number 1 overall playoff seed in the AFC. 3rd and 7. That'll be an offside penalty, and Roethlisberger just throws it away. Oh, and it's going to be a false start.
Well, they got false start down here on the bottom of the screen, but you got defensive offsides on the. So you got to get the officials on the same page. Kruger jumps off sides and is way upfield.
And by the way, line judge today, Sarah Thomas. Right there in the middle of your screen.
There's Sarah right there.
You know, this is interesting because one official sees it one way and another official on the other side sees it the other. Mike Tomlin doesn't want to hear about it.
Offside, number 99 defense. 5-yard penalty, still 3rd down.
So it goes the way of the Steelers. Let's take a look.
So let's keep an eye on Foster, and you got Kruger coming upfield. So they're trying to get Foster, was just looking for that silent count. So that's why it was ultimately placed on Kruger being upfield. You see Foster's doing the same thing. He's looking back for that silent count.
So it's 3rd and 2. And Roethlisberger going to throw for it. Going to go deep down the middle of the field. It is caught. Darius Hayward-Bay tripped up inside the 25-yard line. Pierre Desir saved the touchdown. That is a 66-yard pickup.
Slot's going to come in and just do a dig route out to the outside. You're going to go over the top. So what happens is the safety jumps here, leaving it open in the middle of the field. Darius Hayward-Bay is able to take advantage of it. Protection is outstanding for Roethlisberger as the Browns are only bringing 3, and Ben puts it in stride.
So the Steelers now at the Cleveland 21. Toussaint. Back to the line of scrimmage, no gain. We go to New York. Once again, JB and Boomer.
Greg, credit Freddie Shimizu with the escape from Revis Island.
That's exactly right. Tyrod Taylor is going to find Sammy Watkins as he bobbles it, regains possession, takes it all the way down. 38-yard reception right there to the Jet 33-yard line as the Buffalo Bills are moving.
Back to Greg Gumbel.
Anyone but Freddie Shimizu, JB. one of our camera guys back in the studio in New York. And a football maven. 2nd and 10. Roethlisberger, far side of the field, incomplete, intended for Antonio Brown. It'll be 3rd and 10. And a little pushing and shoving out on the field at about the 25-yard line.
Darius Hayward-Bay, one-on-one. 2 plays previous on the deep post against Pierre Desir.
There has never been any question that Darius Hayward-Bay can run. Has always been able to run. His problem on occasion back in Oakland is catching the football. 3rd and 10. Throwing to the near side. Incomplete. Off the hands of Hayward-Bay. And that'll bring on the field goal unit.
You know, I wonder, Greg, as we show the replay on Darius Hayward-Bay again in the end zone, I wonder if something wasn't said to Ben, like, hey, you're trying to go to Antonio Brown too much. You're looking his way too much, and that's why you're getting the interceptions. The defense is dialed into that. So on this series, they didn't go to him once. Ben didn't look his direction once. Every time it was towards Hayward-Bay.
So for the 39-yard field goal attempt, here is Chris Boswell. He missed from 48, but this one's on the money. And 9:39 to play. In the 3rd quarter, the Steelers stretch their lead 17-9. Steelers would like those scores to stay just the way they are for the rest of the day. Buffalo leading the Jets. Pittsburgh with the lead on Cleveland here at First Energy Stadium. 6.5 to play in the 3rd quarter at Buffalo, and the Bills, we are told, are driving. Raheem Mostert is deep. This one's short. Mostert on the run at the 6. Across the 25 and out to about the 27-yard line. Let's get another update from the guys in New York. Once again, James Brown, Boomer Esiason, what you got?
Tenacious Buffalo on 4th down.
Well, this is what happens when you play against a team that has nothing to play for other than to make you miserable. 4th and 6, 8 yards. Tyrod Taylor to Sammy Watkins. 1st down. It's now 2nd and 7, and Buffalo is driving deep into Jet territory.
Operative words, make you miserable, huh? Back to Greg Gumbel.
Boomer knows a thing or two about making people miserable. I'm just saying.
Are you talking about his play on the field or currently?
Just saying. Davis gives to Crowell. Crowell breaking free on the right side and out across the 35 to about the 36-yard line. A reminder, tomorrow on an all-new Late Show with Stephen Colbert. Don't miss Samuel L. Jackson. Plus, later this week, Jerry Seinfeld, Matthew Broderick. All-new Colbert. All this week.
What the Steelers have been able to do defensively is not give up the big play. They've been keeping everything under control and keeping things in front, not allowing Cleveland to get behind, and that's working perfectly for the Steelers.
Crowell lost his footing, and he goes down at the 35-yard line. It has been one of those years for the Cleveland Browns, and they're not happy at all about it. The quarterback carousel continuing. 3 different quarterbacks have started multiple games. Defense to 29th in the NFL in points allowed, and they're currently in position to get the 2nd pick in the 2016 draft. If they lose today and Tennessee would win, they would get the number 1 pick overall. However, Tennessee trails Indianapolis by 10 right now. 3rd and 2. Under pressure, he got rid of it. And Duke Johnson breaking tackles has the 1st down and out of bounds across the 45-yard line. Good job by Austin Davis. Terrific job by Duke Johnson.
Great composure by Austin Davis, realizing he's got two guys closing in on him. He's going to take a hit. Even more impressive would be Duke Johnson securing that catch, recognizing that he's going to take a shot here. It's Davis taking the hit. Johnson knowing and controlling that he's going to take a hit, and he splits the two defenders. Johnson showed tremendous skill after the catch here today.
Will Allen injured on that play. It's come to the sideline, replaced by Robert Golden, and here is Duke Johnson again. And Johnson out to midfield. There's Allen being looked at on the sideline. We're under 7.5 to play here in the third. Buffalo has tacked on a field goal and now leads the Jets 19-10. And that's Duke Johnson taking a knee at midfield. So Johnson takes a breather. And you can sort of understand why.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by T-Mobile. Ditch your carrier and switch to the Un-carrier. And by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
Welcome back to Cleveland, where Pittsburgh leads and Buffalo's lead over the Jets is 19-10 with 5 minutes to play in the third. Davis on the move. Davis sliding down inside the 35-yard line. And let's get you back to New York for an update. Once again, JB and Boomer.
A hurt Jet.
That's right, JB. Adding injury to insult right here. You can see Muhammad Wilkerson on the bottom of this pile as the pile falls on top of him, hurts his right leg. He gets carted off, taken to the locker room, and as Greg just pointed out, Dan Carpenter did kick a 37-yard field goal. Bills lead 19-10.
Back to Greg Gumbel.
Muhammad Wilkerson, not a guy you want to take off of that field for the New York Jets. Here's Isaiah Crowell to the right side and bumped out of bounds at about the 30-yard line. Mike Mitchell delivering the hit.
John DeFilippo, the offensive coordinator for the Browns, has got something dialed in right now. They've been able to put together a nice, consistent drive using some underneath passes. The run game has been clicking here this drive, so finding a good balance. At some point in time, though, I'd like to see him take a shot up the field just because they haven't had the success in the red zone, so you need to try and push it at some point in time.
On 2nd and 7, he'll keep it. And diving forward to about the 27-yard line. What do you think of Austin Davis so far today?
You know, he's done a good job. It's kind of what I expected. I figured they would come in and just try and manage things for him, put him in a situation where it was not going to be too risky. A lot of it depended on what kind of pressure, what kind of pocket he was going to have in terms of getting the ball. But everything's been pretty controlled. He's done a nice job of managing things. Hasn't made a huge mistake. Obviously had the interception down in the end zone, but for the most part, he's really controlled himself very well.
Duke Johnson back on the field. And in the backfield with Davis on 3rd and 3. Johnson in the flat, not going to get to the first down. Tried, came up about a yard short. James Harrison with the first hit. And now what does Mike Pettine do?
I think Mike Pettine goes for it. It's when you hear all the rumors and reports going on, he has nothing to lose. He's going for it, and that's what it looks like when you see the personnel coming on the field.
What did Boomer Esiason just say about the problem when you're facing a team that has nothing to lose, like the Buffalo Bills? They just went for it and succeeded on 4th down. Mike Pettine and the Browns doing the same thing here.
Well, you have to remember the Browns went for a 4th down early in the first quarter and weren't able to come up with it. Now this is much shorter down and distance.
Crowell behind Davis, but he's going to sneak for it. And a lot of this will depend on the spot, but it looks from here like he has it.
Yeah, and Pete Morelli isn't even waiting for the spot. He saw that pile push, and he's going ahead and signaling first down.
So first down for the Cleveland Browns. Let's go down to Jamie.
Well, Greg, that decision does not surprise me whatsoever. When I did chat with Mike Pettin coming out of the locker room to start the second half, I just asked him, hey, what's the mood and attitude in there? He said, why not us? Those 3 words. So it doesn't surprise me at all, 4th and short.
All right, Jamie, thank you. First down at the 23-yard line, and Davis to throw. Going to go down the sideline, incomplete. Intended for Terrell Pryor, and Ross Cockrell was there. We had a chance to talk with Ross Cockrell last night, and then Mike Tomlin followed him into the room, and Mike said to us, did he say anything?
Did you get any kind of response out of him? Did you have any quotes that you can use out of him?
One of the quieter players on the team.
Yes, he was, but he was. I enjoyed talking to him. He has a good perspective on things, and his ability to learn from some of the guys he talked about, what he's been able to learn from William Gay and the study habits and watching film. It was nice to get a chance. What little he did say.
This is Crowell, and Mike Tomlin very, very high on his upside.
Well, another big third down for the Browns here, and I think they've made it pretty clear that they're willing to go for it on 4th down. So if they can just get close to the sticks, I think he goes for it again. But
you're talking about 4-down territory for Cleveland from now until the end of the season.
Yes. Well, don't be surprised they go for the 2-point if they do get the touchdown at some point in time.
Duke Johnson lining up in the slot on the near side. Over the middle, that's complete. Inside the 15 to the 13, and that is Gary Barnidge for a first down.
Steelers bringing pressure again, repeatedly mixing things up. That time Will Allen coming on the blitz. He's done that several times today. Sometimes they've been able to get there. That time Barnidge able to win on the route against Timmons.
4 red zone trips, 3 field goals, and an interception. Davis throwing the slant inside the 5 to the 4. Darius Jennings with the catch. And a penalty marker is thrown.
Well, and they got the ball back. They were going to have 1st and goal, or actually it would have been 2nd down and 1. But now Terrell Pryor is going to get a penalty right in front of the official. So instead of 2nd and 1, 2nd and 2, now it's going to be 2nd and 17.
After the play was over, unsportsmanlike conduct, number 17, offense. 15-yard penalty. It was after the play, so it was a 2nd down.
Boy, talk about the things that Mike Pettin and the Browns did not need.
See if the ball comes out here before it definitely comes out before he hits the ground. And with all those Steelers around, Jennings is still able to come up with it. And then Pryor is getting into a shoving match. Initially he's trying to clear off the pile.
And it backs the Browns up to the 20 on 2nd down. Davis with time, throwing to this side, caught it by Duke Johnson, and Johnson inside the 15 and out of bounds at the 14-yard line. And a penalty marker down again on the far side of the field. And this one's going to be against Pittsburgh.
Illegal contact, number 92. Defense, 5-yard penalty, automatic first down.
That's that giveth and taketh away thing.
Well, and the big thing about that is you're not going to have the ball inside the 5-yard line like they have, but with the legal contact, it's automatic first down.
That's contact.
Well, I can see where the Steelers are arguing it was within that 5 yards, but right on the borderline, and he got it called.
First down from the 15-yard line. Crowell trying to turn the corner, out of bounds at the 11. Pick up a 4, and it'll be 2nd and 6. Coming up on the 1-minute mark here in the third quarter. They have under 2 minutes to play in Buffalo, where the Bills still lead the New York Jets 19-10.
Well, and the Browns have been in control. They've got over 10 minutes time of possession, more than the Steelers. They've had over 20 snaps or 20 snaps more than what the Steelers have had. So it's just this red zone production that they've got to be taking care of.
15th play of this drive. Crowell not going anywhere. No gain on that play. And it'll be third down, and let's see if Mike Pettine chooses to run another play before time expires here in the third quarter.
Well, you can always tell by the guys on the sidelines, because the guys on the sidelines that are near the coaches, they all start working towards the other end of the field. It's like, okay, you're pretty clear you're not going to get a snap off.
So they will let the clock wind down on the third quarter here in Cleveland. Who's going to the postseason? Pittsburgh? The Jets? Back after this message and a word from your local station. Welcome back to Cleveland as we get set to start the fourth quarter. Pittsburgh Steelers leading 17-9 and needing a win and a New York Jets loss at Buffalo to make the postseason. The New York Jets just scored a touchdown at Buffalo to close the gap on the Buffalo Bills. Meanwhile, what a strange third quarter it was for Mike Tomlin's Pittsburgh Steelers. Just 3:28 in possession. This drive coming up on 9:45.
Keep an eye on Pryor down here. Big size advantage for the Browns.
Davis throwing, and that's incomplete, and the misconnection with Pryor. And Mike Pettine is going to send the field goal unit on.
Davis threw that ball like he thought it was going to be a slant by Pryor, and Pryor went up and almost ran a hit. So,
well, you surprised this isn't 4-down territory?
You know, I am. And you and I just mentioned that a little bit ago. When they were around the 35, they went for it on 4th down. We said, well, this is pretty much 4-down territory the rest of the way. Maybe he thought this was too far to go, and yeah, I don't know. I tend to push it, but take the point. I see where he's coming from.
Coons from 29 yards out is good. And with 14:53 to play in the fourth, it is 17-12 Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh Steelers trying to survive a determined Cleveland Browns team that has nothing to lose. Mike Tomlin's group leads at 17-12 as the Browns get set to kick it. 62 yards in 17 plays.
9 minutes and 46 seconds and settled for 3. I think Pittsburgh's fine with that. They're content with letting them just get field goals the rest of the way.
Marcus Wheaton is deep. Wheaton will run this one from the 1-yard line. And is going to get buried before he reaches the 20. Let's get an update from New York. James Brown. Boomer Esiason.
Warming up nicely.
JB, 3rd and 10. Ryan Fitzpatrick, 21 yards to Eric Decker. That's versus a fire zone blitz. That's the 9th time both Jets receivers have scored a TD in the same game, adding to their NFL record. Jets trail 19-17.
Getting set to start the fourth quarter of play. Back to Greg Gumbel.
All right, guys, thank you. 14:47 to play in the fourth here. The Jets clinch with a win at Buffalo. Roethlisberger from the 19. Waits, throws, and is that caught at the 30-yard line by Heath Miller.
That's the 2nd or 3rd time today that Miller has had a defensive player right in his hip pocket and is able to pull the ball away. Just used his strong hands to pull it away from Williams on that one. Earlier, the touchdown catch he had was the same way. defender right there able to pull it away. The strong hands of Heath Miller coming up big here in this game.
Keenwan Williams was on the coverage. On first down, Roethlisberger dodges trouble, throws over the middle, and wide open in the middle of the field, Antonio Brown. And that's out to the 46-yard line for another first down.
Ben is looking out to his left, but as that pocket collapses, he buys time and slides up in the pocket. A younger Ben Roethlisberger may have taken off and run at that point, but he kept his eyes forward. Antonio Brown kept moving and found a crease in the middle of the field.
Boy, Antonio Brown, tough enough, but then when you give him more time to run around, he's almost impossible to cover. Toussaint shaking tacklers and forward to the 49. Just a reminder for you, the night before Super Bowl 50, the NFL salutes the best players and plays of the season in a prime-time, star-studded football and entertainment special. NFL Honors, Saturday, February the 6th, only CBS. On 2nd and 7, going to give it to Toussaint again, and he is dragged down at about, I'll give him a yard to midfield. Nate Orchard making the tackle, down to James.
Well, Greg, you were just talking about Antonio Brown. Ben Roethlisberger's analysis of him is pretty cool. He says Brown is scary special. The numbers part is obviously special, but the scary part is his willingness to improv on his routes. And we see Roethlisberger get out of the pocket, but sometimes where Ben looks downfield, has no idea where 84 is, and all of a sudden he peels out of a corner and he sees him again. So they have a pretty cool connection.
I think defensive backs will second that. Thanks, Jamie. 3rd and 6. Roethlisberger going to go deep down the far sideline, and it is tipped in the air and incomplete, intended for Darius Hayward-Bay. Fought all the way by Johnson Bottamosi.
Bottamossi's in good position to go up and even get this interception. Hayward-Bay reaching over the top. A little arm fighting there at the end.
You think that was an intended jump ball or underthrown?
I think it was a little bit underthrown, but when you have a guy like Hayward-Bay that can get up like that, you put it in a position. You hate to overthrow it. If you're anything, you're going to underthrow it, make it that jump ball.
This one going to bounce and roll towards the end zone and saved by the Steelers, Ross Ventrone. And now it's going to be ruled a touchback. Oh, let's see. No. Let's see. At the 2-yard line, it is ruled down at the 2. Ventrone tracking it down and pushing it back. I don't know if they live under the same roof, but I'll bet you that relationship gets a little contentious from time to time. Welcome back to Cleveland. 17-12. Steelers in the lead. Hoping for a Jets loss at Buffalo, and Buffalo leads the Jets by 2, coming up on 12 minutes to play there. And a little scramble at the line of scrimmage and penalty markers fly. Pete Morelli says, who you got?
False start, number 67 offense, after distance to the goal, remains first down.
Austin Pastor, the left guard.
That's where, as a quarterback, you have nothing to lose. You're on the 1 or
Half
maybe
the
the
distance to the goal is what?
Right. Go ahead and try every hard count, head nod, whatever you want to do to try and get it. Unfortunately, your home guy moves, and they move it maybe 8 inches back or something like that.
Right. Play clock is down to 8. You know, take the penalty. How much further back can you go?
Right.
After this to the goal, still first down.
So delay of the game doesn't cost them very much at all. There you go, half the distance.
I don't even know how you mark that down in the book, right?
Can you throw a flag and challenge the spot?
Right.
After a couple of penalties in half distance, it's still 1st and 10. Davis going to throw over the middle. Got his man. That is Barnidge, and Barnidge across the 20 for a 1st down.
I tell you what, Greg, that's a gutsy call right there. The risk of being on your own 4-inch mark, 2 or 3 hitches in the middle of the pocket. You're trying to get the outside route. You come down to your second read and Barnidge over the middle. You see Davis take a shot to his legs as he delivers that. I guess you can have gutsy calls like that when you have nothing to lose, right?
To the 21. Davis to throw again. And that is across the 30 and in and out of the arms of Terrell Pryor, his intended receiver. It'll be 2nd and 10.
Well, and this is just a player trying to learn a new position, and you can see he jumps and tries to catch it with his body as opposed to staying on the ground, coming back and attacking it with your hands, catching that ball with your hands. Just not comfortable with that at this stage of his development.
2nd and 10. Davis under pressure and going down at the 10, and that's Lawrence Timmons. And a loose ball recovered by the Steelers. Arthur Moats came up with the ball. Timmons forced the fumble.
Davis trying to buy time, bringing pressure up that front side. Timmons drives him to the ground. We're trying to get an angle here where we can see if he's down or not before the ball comes loose. Nope, that ball's coming out.
Did you see the spin that Lawrence Timmons put on at the line of scrimmage to break free into the backfield?
Tomlin talked to us about the defense creating turnovers. A week ago against Baltimore, they weren't able to get any turnovers. This is a crucial one for the Steelers, giving them incredible field position.
1st and goal at the 8. Roethlisberger pulls it down, rolling, throwing. It is caught in the end zone for a touchdown by Marcus Wheaton. Credit Ben Roethlisberger for that one.
Buying time with his feet, what he's done so many times throughout his career. The receivers are taught to stay alive. They tried getting the initial throw was going to be a slant to Wheaton with Antonio Brown on the inside. You saw Roethlisberger with the pump. Then he escaped outside the pocket. Receivers recognized it. They slid back to the outside. Nice job by Wheaton digging that out, getting the touchdown.
And the Pittsburgh Steelers now looking for the 2-point conversion. And they have 7 so far this season. But their first attempt in the last 5 games. Roethlisberger, all kinds of time and complete in the end zone. Boy, what time he got. And Toussaint on the receiving end for the 2-point conversion. I mean, that's basically uncontested.
Yeah. The entire time Roethlisberger's looking over to his right. Toussaint comes out of the backfield. Just one-on-one. You can see the check down there, the sit down, and then isolation on the backside by Toussaint, able to win, and Roethlisberger hitting him for the 2-point conversion.
Here's the opportunity out of the hands of Austin Davis, recovered by the Steelers. And then Roethlisberger rolling left, throwing to the end zone. Marcus Wheaton on the receiving end. And it's a 25-12 lead for the Steelers.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Honda. Hurry in for great deals during Happy Honda Days. Verizon. Better matters. And by Amazon Fire TV. Change the way you TV.
Back in Cleveland, 10:43 to play in the fourth. How fortunes change so quickly. The Cleveland Browns knocking on the door and a chance to close the gap against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Austin Davis said it was important for them to get touchdowns instead of field goals in the red zone. They've settled for field goals today.
Yeah, they had the one interception Austin Davis did going into the end zone, and then the rest, as you said, Greg, have been field goals. So just not getting that production in the red zone, and it's cost them here as they now trail
by a bunch. Mostert across the 20. Penalty marker is down on the far side of the field. And a loose ball out. The Steelers say they have the ball. Pete Morelli unstacks the players. And it is Steeler football. Pete Morelli checking on the penalty marker.
During the return, illegal block in the back, number 59. The receiving team, penalty is declined. Result for the play. First down, Pittsburgh. Cut.
And there is Brandon Boykin recovering the loose ball for Pittsburgh.
You can see that ball clearly coming out. Anthony Chickillo is the one that forces the fumble.
Boy, and that has to be the best when the ball just bounces right up to you. Standing there as an observer. And the ball bounces up to you. So here are the Steelers. And Toussaint. Toussaint inside the 25 to the 24-yard line. This Thursday, meet a guardian angel with no wings, no halo, no boundaries. Jane Lynch stars in Angel from Hell, premiering Thursday at 9:30, 8:30 Central, only CBS. Raheem Mostert with the fumble, giving Pittsburgh yet another opportunity deep in Cleveland territory. Still 10 minutes to play here in the fourth. Roethlisberger, play fake, time, throws, complete. Antonio Brown inside the 10 to about the 7, and it'll be first and goal.
Now watch at the top of this route as Antonio Brown comes out of this curl route. He's going to stay on his feet and attack the ball with his hands, catch it in front of him. Earlier we saw Terrell Pryor, same type of throw, jumps up and tries to catch it with his body. That's just the difference right now between Antonio Brown, where he is in his career, and Terrell Pryor trying to learn a new position.
On first and goal, the Steelers go with 3 tight ends: Heath Miller, Matt Spaeth, Jesse James. Roethlisberger up with more familiar numbers today. 345 yards passing. Toussaint loses a yard back to the 8. Desmond Bryant making the tackle. Second and goal. 5:40 to play in Buffalo. The Bills with the ball and a 2-point lead over the New York Jets. If that score holds, if this score holds, the Jets are out. Pittsburgh is in.
Well, you mentioned just a second ago about Roethlisberger and his numbers, especially in the second half. He's been more dialed in, more accurate. He had some inconsistency. You look at these numbers: 345 yards, 3 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. You say to yourself, well, that's a really good day. But some of those inconsistencies in the first half, he's put behind him and gotten these guys in position where they're going to win this football game.
This is Antonio Brown inside the 5 and out of bounds at about the 3. And correct me if I'm wrong, he didn't have the football much in the third quarter, did he?
No, it was completely down. That 9-minute and 46-second drive by the Browns after settling for a field goal. Here we see Antonio Brown once again on the around. Just a little toss underneath. Counts as a reception because it went forward.
Well, you quarterbacks will do anything for numbers. Third and goal. Will Johnson in the backfield behind or next to Roethlisberger. And the quick pass, and he threw it behind Brown. I don't know that I've ever seen Ben Roethlisberger run a zone read before.
Oh, and now you know why. Yeah. You see how long he rode Will Johnson towards the line. Watch this. He's got his eyes up. He's riding. He sees it. He's got Antonio Brown open for the touchdown.
And you saw Ben's reaction, too.
Well, the reaction, well, now he's laughing about it because they know with the way the score is right now. But the thing is, if he hands that off to Will Johnson scores also. He goes running into the end zone. So when you've got the game in control, you can laugh about missed opportunities like that.
Boswell from 21 yards puts another 3 on the board. You know what that is? That's something to laugh about on the bus on the way back to Pittsburgh. They could be all smiles by the end of this day. Coming up next, Brock Osweiler and the Denver Broncos can clinch their division and a first-round bye with a win at home over Phillip Rivers and the Chargers. Or the Rams taking on the 49ers. That's up next here on CBS Sports. All kinds of possibilities today, including Denver playing for a first-round bye. New England trailing Miami in Miami with 4:40 to play. The New York Jets trailing Buffalo now by 5 with under 4 minutes to play in Buffalo. Mostert, who fumbled not so long ago, runs this one out, crossed the 20, and spun down at the 22-yard line. As we said, the Steelers needing a win and help from Rex Ryan's Bills today to make the playoffs. Back in 1993, similar scenario. Bill Cowher's Pittsburgh Steelers had to beat the Browns, which they did 16-9, and they got help from another Ryan after throwing a punch at offensive coordinator Kevin Gilbride. Buddy Ryan's Houston Oilers beat the Jets 24-0, which gave the Steelers a playoff spot. What goes around comes around.
Crazy how all that comes together, right?
Mike Pettin looking on. You know, his Browns had a shot today. Could not convert in the red zone. Davis. Escapes, rolls, throws. Penalty marker is thrown on the far side as Travis Benjamin pulls in the pass.
I think they're going to get Bud Dupree on the hold against Barnage.
Holding, number 48 defense, 5-yard penalty automatic, first down.
That is the rookie Dupree. Owner Jimmy Haslam. You heard our NFL insider Jason La Canfora on the NFL Today saying that shortly after this game, maybe this evening, sometime Jimmy Haslam would fire Mike Pettin as his head coach after 2 seasons. The future of GM Ray Farmer also in doubt. Davis throws. That's complete. Out close to the 40-yard line to Darius Jennings. And we are under 7 minutes to play.
And Greg, it's important to point out the fact that, yes, the Steelers are in control of this game, but you go down and score, get a 2-point game. This is still a 2-possession game. If you can get, obviously, 2 touchdowns, but going down and getting a touchdown here and then attempting the onside kick is still not completely out of the place.
Yeah, Mike Tomlin is looking anything but relaxed. Davis had to throw that one into the dirt. And it'll be 2nd and 10. Houston appears well on its way to the AFC South Championship, leading Jacksonville under 3.5 minutes to play. For the Steelers, you'd have to forgive them if they don't have one eye on the Buffalo score.
I'm sure there's a few people on that sideline that
their job.
Dialed in with the score. That's right.
Davis throwing over the middle. And the midfield, that is Benjamin once again. And Benjamin into Pittsburgh territory to the 47. Clock continues to move, 6:25 to play in the fourth. 6:25 here, 3.5 to play in Buffalo. and the Bills by 5. Davis. With time, over the middle. And inside the 40 and out of bounds is Benjamin. And we have a penalty marker.
Well, this has been the formula the Steelers have been using all day. Don't allow the big play. Allow everything underneath. If you get the bump or the illegal hold for 5 yards.
Holding. Number 94 defense, 5-yard penalty from the previous spot, automatic first down.
That flag is on Timmons. And that will give Cleveland a first down at the Pittsburgh 42.
Well, just to continue that thought, I think the Steelers, their game plan all day has been don't allow the big play, don't allow over the top, don't allow them the quick score. That's why the time of possession is so weighted towards the Browns, but also why the Browns haven't been productive once they get to the red zone. So this is fit right in with what the Steelers are trying to do defensively.
Davis going to go deep down the sideline. It is incomplete. Benjamin covered by Cockrell. The shots that Austin Davis has taken have been down the sidelines. Very few have gone over the middle.
Yeah, they haven't tried many over the middle. They did get the one completion when he was coming out of his own, what would you call that, 6'8", 10-inch line that he was trying to, he got Barnage after trying to get it up the sidelines. He came down to Barnage late across the middle. But most of them have been the one-on-one variety, double moves on the outside after hitting a slant or hitting a curl, and just haven't had the production with those throws.
Here comes the blitz. Davis escapes it, throws over the middle, and inside the 35, it's complete to Barnage. Boy, what a rock-solid receiver he is, isn't he?
He does a heck of a job. The boxing out technique that he uses, it's some of that basketball background that he has.
Yeah, he said he played basketball, he played baseball. Apparently, he can play the game of football rather well.
He does a good job with it, that's for sure.
3rd and 1. And the quick one almost intercepted by Sean Spence, number 51. And that will leave a 4th down. There's a penalty marker on the far side of the field.
Illegal shift, number 17. Offense, 5-yard penalty remains, 3rd down.
So instead of 4th and 1, they'll look at the 3rd and 6.
There's the near interception by Spence.
They are coming up on the 2-minute warning in Buffalo. Jets with the football, needing a touchdown. The Jets have 3rd and 9 at the 2-minute warning. Davis looking for running room. Can't spin away and goes down at the 48. That was Stephon Tuitt.
Good coverage downfield as you see Davis working through his progression. Trying to bail out to his right, and Tuitt got that big hand on him and wasn't letting him go.
4th and 14. And not much of a rush, but Davis going to throw it this side of the field. Intercepted. Picked off by William Gay. Gay. Out of bounds. And that will just about clinch things for the Pittsburgh Steelers here in Cleveland. Davis throwing to the near side, and number 22 had it all the way.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by State Farm. Find your agent at statefarm.com. And by Subway and the turkey breast sandwich with no artificial preservatives.
Steeler Nation will love the news from Buffalo that the Bills have intercepted the New York Jets with 1:51 to play in regulation. This is Toussaint. Let's get more from New York. Once again, James Brown. Boomer Esiason.
Visual embellishment again.
Well, here
Greg.
you go, Greg. This is going to be Marcel Darius is going to run into Ryan Fitzpatrick, force an ill-advised throw. That's going to be Manny Lawson coming up with the 2nd interception of the day on Ryan Fitzpatrick. Both of those interceptions have come in the fourth quarter for the New York Jet quarterback. Bills lead 22-17.
1:51 left in regulation, Greg.
All right, guys, that score holds up. This one holds up. The Jets are out of the postseason. The Steelers are in Tucson. You remember last night when we were talking with Mike Tomlin, Trent, and we're asking him, we're trying to get him to dissect how the Steelers just fell so flat at Baltimore last week, and all he said was, this is the NFL. This is the NFL.
He said every game, you just can't panic. You know that every game it's competition, and we can see it with all the scores today. There's a number of teams that don't have anything to play for that are playing really good football or getting the upsets necessary to shake things up. So Tomlin was excited when talking about it. He said, I don't want to worry about the what ifs if we don't get in the playoffs. I want to focus on we are going to win and we are going to find a way to get into the playoffs.
Tucson. And he's buried back at the 45-yard line. Fitzgerald Toussaint running the football for the Steelers in the absence of D'Angelo Williams, who was injured earlier today on this play. Watch his right leg, his right foot caught underneath. John Hughes was carted off, came back to the sideline, but has not returned to the game. You got to wonder about his status should the scores hold up, and D'Angelo Williams is eligible to play for the postseason.
Yeah, a lot of that will be just determined by MRIs and exams, and we really haven't got much of an update to the severity, whether ankle, foot sprain, what it is. Something to keep a tab on as the week moves ahead.
And we get a penalty marker.
Delay of game. Offense. 5-yard penalty remains. 4th down.
You see a smile or two on that Pittsburgh sideline. What do you want to bet? They kind of have an idea what's going on in Buffalo.
I would say the news is starting to trickle in. Believe me, there's somebody down there with a phone or maybe an earpiece in, getting fed the information that they need to know.
You see the eyes there focused on the scores on the scoreboard. Travis Benjamin is deep, and won't get a chance to field this one. It goes into the end zone for the touchback. 2:06 remaining here. 1:39 to play in Buffalo. Buffalo with the ball and a 5-point lead. And we're just getting started here on CBS. Coming up next, San Diego at Denver, St. Louis at San Francisco. Miami leading New England in Miami by a touchdown with 2 minutes to play. I believe in the Northeast they call that Brady time.
That's a shocker right there, because New England, when you start talking about buys and home field, and they still had something to play for.
Austin Davis will pass over the middle, and that's incomplete. Darius Jennings, the intended receiver. Well, Austin Davis was full of confidence when we talked about him yesterday morning. Said that, he had the whole playbook, knew it, down pat.
Well, and even when talking with Mike Tomlin about him, he said, you know what, Austin Davis has more experience than Johnny Manziel. So what's the difference in preparing for Austin Davis and preparing for Johnny Manziel? And they said, you know what, actually there's probably more at Austin Davis' disposal just because of his knowledge of the playbook. Sliding catch is made by Travis Benjamin, and with 1:57 on the clock, we come to the 2-minute warning. 1:57. Is that all that remains between Mike Tomlin and a playoff berth? Ben Roethlisberger and the Steelers all smiles at the minute 57 mark. Penalty markers fly as Davis runs for his life and got rid of it. And almost caught by Travis Benjamin. There have been a lot of drop balls on Austin Davis today. There have been quite a few, actually. And
offsides, number 97 defense, 5-yard penalty remains, 1st down.
The New York Jets have the ball in Buffalo, but they are deep in their own territory and are out of timeouts. And the clock is moving. They are down to 11 seconds to play. And we are told the Buffalo Bills just intercepted. And there is a cheer going up among the Steeler faithful here in Cleveland. Davis going down at the 31. The Steeler fans waving the towels. They know what's happened in Buffalo. And what's happening is the Steelers are headed to the playoffs. JB and Boomer.
And here it is, Greg.
That's right, desperation time for the New York Jets. Ryan Fitzpatrick's going to step up in the pocket. He's going to get picked off for the third time in the fourth quarter today. That's A.J. Tarpley of the Buffalo Bills. Buffalo's going to go on to win this game 22-17. A happy New Year's gift for sure. All those Pittsburgh Steeler fans out there.
Week 17 drama. Back to Greg Gumbel.
All right, guys, that game is now complete. Buffalo, a 22-17 winner over the New York Jets. Pittsburgh about to close out a playoff clinching win here in Cleveland.
Well, this is cracking me up, Greg, because we were wondering, are the players going to know what's going on in that game? And as soon as it happened, all of the Steeler fans in the stadium started waving their terrible towels and cheering, even though this game was still in progress.
Gary Barnidge out to the 40-yard line. Third and 5. What a happy little bus ride that's going to be back to Pittsburgh, huh?
Yeah, they don't care how long it takes, whether it's a couple hours or 6 hours.
That pass incomplete, and it'll be 4th and 5. So what looked so bleak for Mike Tomlin and his Pittsburgh Steelers a week ago in a devastating loss at Baltimore kind of looks pretty good now. Pittsburgh will sneak into the wild card by virtue of the win here and the Jets' loss in Buffalo.
Well, and you said it, Greg, they sneak in. But I tell you what, how they've played over this last 6-8 weeks of the season, it's not a team you're going to want to play in this wild card round, because even though they struggled against Baltimore and it hasn't looked as clean as they wanted it to today, how explosive they are on offense and very opportunistic defense. This is going to be a tough team. This is going to be a tough out for anybody that faces the Steelers in the playoffs.
You saw number 84, Antonio Brown there. All he did today was 13 catches for 187 yards and a touchdown. Meanwhile, for Mike Pettin, is this goodbye here in Cleveland?
Well, I think you have to say that he did an excellent job getting these guys prepared today. They responded and played hard for him. There was no give up in the Browns. I think that's a compliment to Coach Pettin and how he was able to get these guys focused. But the focus really needs to be on the Pittsburgh Steelers, what they were able to accomplish, the job that Mike Tomlin did. Todd Haley, we saw just a second ago with his offensive unit. Keith Butler with the defensive unit. Getting these guys focused in after that disappointing loss a week ago to Baltimore.
The party has begun on the Steelers sideline. Put a cap on it. A team that has missed the playoffs 2 of its last 3 years. The Pittsburgh Steelers fixed that today. Mike Tomlin, Mike Pettin shaking hands at midfield. If the rumors and the stories hold true, we'll find out later this evening what Mike Pettin's future is here in Cleveland, if there is one. Meanwhile, the New England Patriots have just lost to the Miami Dolphins by a score of 20-10. The Jets a loser in Buffalo. Houston has claimed the AFC South. And the Pittsburgh Steelers with a 28-12 win. And the Steelers are headed to the postseason. There's the AFC playoff picture. The guys back in New York who are experts on this sort of thing will fill you in on the details. The team knowing what they had to do, and they did it, Trent.
Excellent job of execution. There were some struggles in the first half, but this team never panicked. They kept their composure in the second half, really nailed things down, and were very controlled.
Hey, congratulations to our technical crew who just did another outstanding job today all season long. Headed up by producer Bob Monsbach and director Suzanne Smith. Our thanks to them. Trent, another great year. Congratulations to you. Mike Gluck, our spotter. Joe Castellano, our statistician. Our final score. Pittsburgh, a winner. Coming up, game 2 of the doubleheader. San Diego at Denver, St. Louis at San Francisco. For Trent and Jamie, for all of us here in Cleveland, Greg Gumbel saying so long. You've been watching the NFL on CBS, the NFL Today update right after this.